So welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be going over the top 5 best tracks that are fictional on GT Sport. We're most likely going to do real tracks soon or maybe next week. So these tracks cannot be oval, so no Blue Moon Speedway. There can be the infields. Sadly, no Northern Ireland. Now those tracks do produce good racing, but I don't think they deserve to be on this calendar. But I think Blue Moon and Northern Isle, even if we allowed ovals to be on this list, they would probably be 1 and 2 for sure. So another thing to be aware of, please keep it civilized and respectful in the comments. And to me, this is just a list. I've only been playing GT Sport for around a year now, so I don't have as much experience as some people do with like 4 years or 5 years of experience, or maybe even 6 years. I'm not that experienced, so please keep it respectful. Also, respect others' opinions. So this is very important, or else I will have to ban you or something like that. I don't know how you ban someone from YouTube, but I'll find a way. So yeah, just please respect others' opinions. Some of these tracks might be controversial, so just be aware of that. This is my personal pick. Some of them might be a little bit too biased, just be aware of that. I know some tracks I've not raced around that much, so they might not be on this list. Those tracks. Just keep it respectful and enjoy the video. So the honorable mention in this list is Kyoto Driving Park Yamigawa. Now I think that's how you pronounce it, I'm not too sure, but that's what Google Translate pronounced it as. So, this track is very colorful, it's very blue, and my favorite color is blue. Not biased or anything. Maybe that's why I picked it, but it was very hard to pick it into the top 5. But yeah, the blue around this track, it's a pretty good environment. Maybe a little strand, kind of like the Russian or France track, F1 track, kind of like that. But it's a very fun track. So basically, if you've never driven around this track, it's basically high speed. The first sector just flat out. I think, actually no, Sector 1 and Sector 2 are just flat out. No braking zones except Sector 3 and Sector 4. Sector 3 and Sector 4, those you have to brake. You have to use your brakes. So if you have a brake failure in Sector 1 or Sector 2, well, you're fine. But if you have it in Sector 3 and Sector 4, well, you're kind of dead. So another reason why I kind of struggled to pick it, like try to see why it didn't deserve to be outside the top 5, was okay. So the uphill S's, which is flat out, it's very fun to go around there, but it feels too nice. I haven't driven around the circuit a lot, but it just feels too easy. Really, I think it's a fun track or anything, but I don't think it deserves to be in that top 5. It's a high-speed track, like I said before, and the second to last downhill corner, it's very hard to explain what it is. I forgot what turn corner it is, but that corner is so satisfying to get right. And the Super Formula, just go down a gear basically. It's very fast. We will be passing by it pretty soon on the replay here. Here we go. After this hairpin, it's right after there. And it's a satisfying corner, as well as the S's, but if it was like Suzuka S's, that would be even more satisfying. But this track, I feel like it's a little bit too basic. So here we go. Here's the corner I was talking about. It's just flat out once. You kind of cut that curve there. I don't know if that's breaking the rules or not. We're cutting the track. But yeah, it's a satisfying track. A little bit too basic, a little too flat out in Sector 1 and Sector 2. That's why I kind of kept it out of that top 5. Very challenging. But yeah, that's why I picked it. Picked it as an honorable mention. So 5th on the list, we got Alsac Village. Now, this is one of my... It was very hard to pick if it deserved to be in the honorable mention one, but I think it definitely deserves a spot in the top 5. So, if you've driven around the circuit a lot, you know that the setting around here is absolutely amazing. Just the terrain, you can see the signs and stuff. It actually looks like a village, and it's just absolutely amazing. another reason why I like this track is you can't see right now from the replay, but turn 8. Now, if you don't know, turn 8 is the banked high-speed corner. A lot of people like this corner. In the Super Formula, it's flat out, but in other cars, you kind of have to lift off the gas, but you actually don't have to brake as much as other corners. And it's a satisfying corner. We're about to see what kind of it looks like. Here we go. There it is. Flat out through there, hit the curb. In the Super Formula, it feels so satisfying. In other cars, it's even more satisfying because you can't really get it right on the first try. Is now another reason why I like this track. It's the downhill chicane. Now we're about to see it. Perfect timing. So after this corner, you're gonna see. I think a lot of people like this chicane. See here, the downhill chicane. Oh, that beauty! What a fun chicane. In GT4, it's horrible because the brakes always lock, and a GT4 is a road car, so it sucks in general. But just, it's awesome. It's an awesome track. Like I said, the setting, you can see the different types of barriers here. You got hay bales. I think there was like walls, like not like really, just really unique walls. You got the turn right markers and stuff. The trees, the tents and stuff. It feels like a festival, and it's such a cool environment. Yeah, and you can see just different types of barriers. You can see the sunflower seeds and stuff. It's just beautiful. It's a beautiful track. You can see the banners. It's for a hot lap around here. You're not only focusing on just doing a lap, you're also focusing on the environment. It's such a cool track. So that's why I picked it for number 5. Fourth on the list, we got Autodrome Lagoon Maggiore GP layout. Now, this track, I think a lot of people notice it from some of my GT3 videos. I know in season 1 of the American GT Challenge, we had this track, and it was a pretty good race, kind of. It wasn't the best racing, but it was definitely a fun track to race around. For example, Sector 2, the S's, oh, those are beautiful. So after this corner on the replay, that's where the S's are, and it's just, in this car, it's mostly flat out, a little bit off the gas, but it's still a pretty fun track. There's a lot of corners that I just absolutely love on this track. Now, in a Super Formula, it's not as satisfying because of just you going flat out in most of them. But now, as we go onto this straight, you might notice that this is turn 11, the banked hairpin. I think a lot of people love this hairpin right here because it's just banked and it's beautiful. And that's one of the reasons why I love this track, is because of that single corner. Now, in the GT3, this upcoming corner, it's satisfying. You go down one gear. In this car, it's flat out. It's still a wonderful corner in a Super Formula car, but if you get that right, if you get that corner, like the racing line right, and you hit the apex, it feels so satisfying. And also, the elevation changes are pretty massive around here, but it's still a fun track, and it's really fun. A lot of good passing opportunities, like the first corner, maybe not for some corners, but turn 11, that's a very fun place to pass people. I know I've done it in the American GT Challenge. It's just a fun track. The environment is not as great as others, but still, just the track just overcomes the environment anyways. So that's why I put Autodrome Lagoon Maggiore, I think that's how you pronounce it, at number 4 on this list. As we now get on the podium of the list here of my most favorite, or the best fictional tracks on GT Sport, we approach the Tokyo Expressway South Outer Loop. In this track, oh my goodness, is it a fun one. As if you've ever driven this track, you know that it's like you can hear the bumps, you can hear like the bumps, and it creates an atmosphere that's just unsame, and it's just super amazing. There's close barriers everywhere. If you have watched my NRA F1 video on my channel, which I actually won the race there, won the race here, you know that I got as close as the barriers as possible. I pretty much, I think, dominated that race, and it was a phenomenal race. One of the other things I like about this track is the final chicane. We're actually approaching it right now, perfect timing. So here we go. Here's the final chicane. Now, I was really good at this. I think a lot of people would have said that I'm really good at that final chicane. I always beat people around it. I was always one of the late breakers, as I am in Daniel Ricciardo's car. And also, the first sector was really fun to drive, as here we are. So I think you go usually you go down one gear. This is my first 2 laps after a while, but this first sector is just so close to the barrier. It's very easy to hit a wall here, as you can see, hit a wall there. So yeah, I'm just showing samples of why this track can be pretty hard in the first sector. So it's a fun track. With the overtake on it's even funner. It might be a little challenging in the GT3 since they have less downforce, but in the Super Formula cars, it's a perfect match. It kind of feels like Monaco, but way faster, way faster. I think there's only 1, 2, 3 braking zones around this track, which is pretty amazing, but that's what creates a good track. But there are some reasons why it's farther than some tracks which don't have that many braking zones. So that's why I put it number 3 on the podium. Tokyo Expressway, South Outer Loop. As now we approach the top 2 favorite tracks, or best tracks, on GT Sport that are fictional. We get to Blue Moon Speedway Infield B. Now this track might be a little controversial since it is almost an oval, which is not allowed on this list. But it's still a pretty fun track. It's kind of a roval, let me just say that. And if you watched the American GT Challenge around here, you know pack racing is the best around here. I had a lot of fun pack racing with others. I really predicted that there would be pack racing, but I didn't know that it would be like pack racing, like Blue Moon Speedway, for example. Not any of the infields, just the oval. And just, oh, it was beautiful. And because it's less complex, like a lot of people can compete for the win. It's fun. One of the things I love about this that's environmental is the bridge here. Look at the bridge. It's such a cool part of the track. Now in the Super Formula, this track might not be even on the list, but because I raced around GT3 around here in the American GT Challenge, it brought this list to the top for sure. And it's a fun track. It's really fun. It's easy to get to. I know a lot of tracks I've said, well, it's too easy, so it doesn't deserve to be on this list, but those tracks haven't really produced that much good racing, in my opinion. I haven't really raced around there, but it hasn't produced a lot of great racing, in my opinion, as that scared the heck out of me. But yeah, just this track, very less complex. The bridge section, it feels like I'm racing at the Blue Moon Oval track, which I am half of the time, technically. And it feels so good. Just the environment, it feels great. It's a great one-off to some leagues, one-off races to some leagues. So that's why I put it number 2. Is now we approach number 1 on the list. I don't know if you guys know what it is, but here we go. Number 1. As number 1 is Dragon Trail Seaside. Now I think a lot of people expected this because they've heard my opinions on this track, but it's just a phenomenal track. I don't know why we didn't have it on the American GT Challenge for season 1, but it's a phenomenal track. The first track I've ever played was this track. Maybe Northern Isle, but I believe second ever track I played was this track, and I spent hours on this track, and it's a fun track to play with the AI. Since there's not that many braking zones, you can really compete with the AI in this game, since the AI kind of sucks. But really, a lot of people know this track for the death chicane. Now, the death chicane is one of my most favorite parts around this track. Maybe because I'm kind of good at it. I know a lot of people are really good at it. I'm maybe not up there with those people, but it's still a lot of fun. And the second sector of this track, just so fun. If you've ever raced around here, I think a lot of people have said that the second sector, just those twisty corners, kind of like an S curve. I don't think it's an S bend quite like that, but it feels like Suzuka, like a lot of these tracks have that S bend on this list, and just this track does it best because it's not too slow and it's not too fast. In this car it's kind of fast, but in the GT3s and stuff it's pretty fun it's pretty satisfying to get right. So as we almost approach the S curves, I kind of want to talk about just the environment around here. I know Dragon Trail Gardens is around here somewhere. I think it's a little, maybe to the east, I think. As we now get to the second sector, you're about to see why I like it. Look at that. But yeah, the environment around here, it feels like a dragon. The orange, the red, it kind of creates the feeling of racing around like a dragon, with all the black, the orange, the red, the dash chicane, Dragon Trail. It's just, oh, it feels so good. The curbs around here just are perfect. I love the curbs. They're not too high, they're not too low. But yeah, just number one on this list, of course, had to be Dragon Trail Seaside. I know a lot of people maybe didn't agree with me around this option, but I think Dragon Trail Seaside definitely deserved to be number one. As that rounds off the top three. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.